answer?
People are commenting more than asking any questions. And the comments are the ones I've been reading out live. Just people saying that this is very helpful. And one woman mainly that's been commenting, the one that you know, Heidi, I think. Do you know her?
I think we met her in West.
Well, I don't know her personally, but I think she came onto LinkedIn, and maybe this is.
Yeah. We met her in West. Okay, I don't remember her face. Okay, let's.
Live. Thank you so much, everybody, for waiting so long to join us today again.
I need the link. I need the link for.
I'll send it to you now. We are on YouTube because we're not on Facebook. We're having problems streaming on Facebook. I really don't know why. And again, really grateful that you can join us here today. I've been noticing that the people still are joining us live on the Facebook page, even though Viola's not there with us. You know that she's speaking, you hear her in the background, and the link is now there on your chat, Viola. It's on your Facebook. You can add it in and invite other people too, so that we can get.
So in this YouTube, they can't see me, yeah?
YouTube, they can see you. On Facebook, they can't.
Okay, so in the chat, can you also send me that link on your phone, please, as you do, because I'm working
on the phone?
Yeah,
can you
please.
see it here on the chat? No?
Hello, everybody.
Yeah, so I don't think I can because, yeah, it's on Messenger, Viola. So you'll see the YouTube there. Anyway, everybody, welcome. And we are busy working with all this tech to get things going. So the link is now on the Facebook page. It's on Messenger, Viola's Messenger. So she can also add it and let you know where we are. Because today is really our last meeting.
Of this series.
And it's the last meeting for this limitlessness that we've been putting together, two psychotherapists to really help you navigate this time of staying at home and all the challenges that could pop up, but also how our personalities suffer and how we can suffer a little bit less. It's been a very stressful morning for me. I don't know how you're doing. Maybe you can let us know and we can start answering some questions today, because we've had a wonderful supportive audience until now, and we've been offering many different versions of the Enneagram typology, the way that personality works, the ego and how it gets stuck, and different ways that you can work with that during this time. And we also are available today for any free advice, comments, personal moments that you want to share, that you find you need some help with, or you just want to put it out there, because there's such a great community of people joining and sharing where they're at. So yesterday, Viola, we talked about unmasking our egos. Maybe just recap for everybody what that was about, and we can get started today.
Yeah, ego. So what does my inner self tell me today? You know, we were talking about different way. One about our multi-dimension, body, emotion, mind, achievement, intellect, and meaning. We've been talking about the bright side of the ego that we need for our personality not our soul cannot go naked to the street, so it needs a personality, and which personality we're using, and not only because of our choice. It's like I call it our emotional DNA, and how each personality has the bright and the shadow. And we've been talking also about how our neurosis can be sharpened in time of chaos and crisis. Also, I want to tell you about another dynamic that happened with us and our ego, is how this dynamic of being an adult and a parent and a child is like in some moment, like me with you now, I'm in my parenting because I'm giving you some guidance. But before that, before we connected the channel with Heleniq, we were in our child, like naughty and like laughing about things that we didn't manage. And before that, I was in my adult fixing something in the bank. Yeah. So how all these things get mixed together. What I want to tell you with all that is that we have so much to do. And for that, we've been inviting you all the way through this session to do some more work with us, hopefully. But today, if you could write to us, or you could ask us more, what is specifically you want? Because what I want to tell you as a person that has been in different situations in life, when my world changed in 3 seconds, something happened and my world changed ups and down, and how we survive to it is that keep this dynamic I've been telling you for your body and for your ego, which is breath, hydration, and eating well and sleeping well. And if you need physical activities, do it even when you're confined in a small place. This is my message, recurrent message, because if you do this simple thing, then the other thing will be even simpler, even when we have to take bigger decision. This shadow part of the ego is gonna be kicking in now to threat you, to make you feel less, to make you feel more clumsy, to make you feel more victim. And the bright side of your personality is gonna say, I'm an adult. I have gone through so many things in my life, and this is another event of my life. With all the help I'm hearing now, I'm receiving now, I will be able to deal with it, and I will ask for more help. This is my opening to you today.
Beautiful. So you are hearing at the moment the limitlessness thing that we've been offering to psychotherapists, Viola Edward and Heleniq Argeru, here together with you, really wanting to support you through this difficult time. These are critical times. These are times of crisis and chaos. And we've been talking about how to go from the uncertainty we all feel to the space of limitlessness, how to begin to feel into the possibility. What can we create? What can we innovate at this time? And we've also then talked about chaos. How do we put some order to the chaos? We moved then further into exploring stamina, grit, and the growth mindset. How do we look at this as a challenging time to learn and grow, as opposed to a time of contraction, a time where everything's breaking down and things are really getting just impossible. We need to work on ways to look at this more in terms of possibility, growth, and learning. And this way we can meet this challenge and really use it to heal parts of the self. Like Viola, you've been saying right now, that's so important for us to look at this day to day, maybe even as an opportunity to begin to go a little deeper, because the ego, as we've been talking about it with Viola from the Enneagram perspective, is now under some stress. And that stress can show up, for me, it showed up this morning as accidents. I pulled one of my side ribs out when I tried to stretch a little, dropped a pot of coffee. So maybe you're going through something like this. Maybe you have something even more serious happening right now that's really hard to handle. This is a time to start asking for help if you feel you need it. Many people are mobilizing online. And the three things, Viola, you're saying is breath, hydration, and the third one?
Sleep.
Yeah, getting enough sleep right now.
And of course, food. Don't make it a lot.
Yeah.
Little, enough, but good, as from what you have, of course. But I think it's very, very important: breath, hydration, and sleep. And I would say food come in the fourth level, because is hydration and breath is so important. And I can see in my own self the fact that there's a little bit more time that I can sleep a little bit more, or manage the hours that and some of you are telling me, I can't sleep at night. I can't sleep. As you are exhausted and you couldn't sleep at night, so you're sleeping during the day and you're having long nap during the day, because as doers, you're not used to be not doing in the speed where you were doing. So you're going to sleep during the day. As you're going to sleep during the day, you cannot sleep during the night. So it's not only anxiety and worrying, it's because you your body is not that tired, so you're having you altered your cycle, and it become a cycle, cause and effect. So try to keep it during the, if you're going to that cycle, because I received at least 7 call about this fact, I can't sleep at night, and when I see they get exhausted, and around 1 or 2 they sleep until 6, like 3-4 hours. So check if you're doing that. Please keep the anima and the tiredness during the day, and maybe one night you go to bed very early, whatever is early for you, 7, 8, 9, and you will break the cycle of not being able to sleep.
Absolutely.
I know 1 night or 2 you had anxiety, but now it is not only anxiety, it's that you altered your sleep pattern.
Yeah.
And the best time to sleep is during the night, to recover and to sleep, you know. And I know for Dur is so difficult not to be doing in the intensity as usual, but I'm sure you'll find ways. You have so many books you need to read. You have so many essays. You have things that you wanted to do and you didn't have time. Maybe now you have a little bit of time for that. So do it.
And for an extra offer today, I'm really glad to share with you a very powerful piece of entrainment music, which really does help you go to sleep. It works for up to 6 hours after you listen to it. So if you listen to it before bedtime, you will really get a chance to go into a slower brainwave frequency. It's all natural music. It's really organized after extensive research by a strong institute in the United States, which is based on what's called rhythmic entrainment, really helping your brain concentrate almost a little too much so that it gets really tired. And then that's what kicks you into sleep. And it's what we call a generic version. So it's a free gift from me today on the post. I'll put it up for anybody that needs a little bit of support. I've sent them out to different people when they are in times of crisis, or when they're really stressed out, or when they have to do exams, many different situations. It really does help. After a few days, it might not be that effective, but give it a rest and then listen to it again, because it's a way that you train your nervous system to calm down just a little bit. And then, of course, if you can do some breathing with that, the conscious breathing we've been talking about, just before bedtime, like as you're lying on your bed, you really support your system to slowly kick in.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Viola, let's go into the Enneatype work that we were talking about yesterday. I know you also started the Grit Academy work that you were doing yesterday to support people to learn how to work on their growth, their resources, the inspiration, and the transformation that's possible in this time. So it's important for us to know that we're coming to the end of this supportive time with you, and we want to really help you understand that if you have questions about this part of you that overreacts, or if you have concerns that other people around you are doing that quite a lot, this is a time to really find out more if you can, and actually use the opportunity to work on yourself and to manage some of these bad habits or these annoying things that you do. And one way to do that is to give yourself a little bit of extra time every day where you can just reflect on how it's going for you. I think some of us are so busy coping and managing that we don't take the time to just tune in and give ourselves a bit of a rest and look emotionally at how we're feeling. This can do enormous changes to the way that we're acting out our emotions. So if we look at that, Viola, from the side of the Enneagram, maybe we can go a little bit into details today about what would be a good way to be reflecting, calming down, taking care of oneself from each of the types of personalities that are active at this time in the ego structure, and what they like to do. Like, I know for me, it's to be creative as a 4, and to actually also concentrate myself on something. Like if I write something, or if I'm busy using the time to really fix up a few things at home. Everybody can be doing that, but perhaps there's different personality traits that respond differently to taking this rest and really calming the body down. So let's go into that, if you can help me with it. On the one The 2, the 3, the 4. I know people don't know everything about the Enneagram as we're speaking, but you will be learning with us today.
Yes. So let's go to the 1, and let's go to the name of the personality. The 1 is a reformer. The 1 is so detailed that we call it the reformer, because they can reform. They are so focused on detail that they can find. When I find a lawyer 1, when I find a scientist 1, is amazing, because they are so much focused on detail. Remember, the 1 bring excellence to wherever they go. In their bright side, the 1 are the 1 who will start a task, a journey, and they will finish it, because part of their pride is that they finish with all the detail. So all of us, we want a 1 in our teamwork, in our family, because it's like they make things really happen. The drama is when they are, the 1 is in minus and is in neurosis, that become very picky, and he or she will take too many tasks, because the 1 live loneliness as nobody do as I do, therefore I have to do. So they are doing a lot of things that in reality they don't have to do. They don't have to open and close the business. They don't have. So if you identified with that, or also 1 need order, need structure. Sometimes when couples, for example, as a couple counselor, when they live in a very tiny place like a studio, and one of them is 1, I recommend them, even a corner of that tiny place should be for the 1. Maybe it's the kitchen, maybe it's the corner of a kitchen or the corner of a living room, that they can really be who they are, which is order, a lot of zen space, and that gives them the air that the 1 breathe is order, is structure, is cleanliness, and we have to understand that if we have a 1 in our family, in our team. Of course, you put a 1 with a 7, which is me, which we want it all, and we try to accumulate, and there could be a lot of suffering. For that, we need to make agreement. This is my corner, this is your corner, yeah? So I would say the 1 are so beautiful, and I just have admiration for the excellence and the beauty of their work. But I will encourage you to work in yourself, so you don't go into all these judgmental and criticism, and so tense. I always dream to do a lot of to do research between chiropractor work and how many ones, or how is the Enneagram and the client, because I have children, 1 who their family said she can't sleep, she's so rigid. Yes, because the need of perfection take you to that rigidity first in the body, and then in the mind, and all that. And then we go.
Viola, for people that can't see you, we're talking about the 1 on the Enneagram. Viola is saying, if you have someone around, or if you yourself go into a lot of perfectionism or controlling the space, or you're judging things, this is one thing to really be listening to right now. Viola, what is the antidote? What can people do if they go into that neurotic part right now? What can they think, say to themselves?
One thing I said to the 1, teach them, is that to be able to, it's not easy to be able to make fun of themselves. Here I go again, the perfect one, to unmask, to show themselves and find a strategy to come back and ask for help, or just go for a walk. I suggest the 1 to go to massage. I suggest always to 1 to go 3-4 times holidays in a year, even if you don't leave your country, even if you don't go away, but you need to break, because the intensity in the 1, how the 1 work is, and the order and the cleanliness and the detail is really, really tiring. Now, when I'm looking for a helper, when I'm looking for a PA, when I'm longing for a balanced 1, because we always say, if you want something to be done for tomorrow, you just say it to a 1, we need this for tomorrow, and you go to sleep, because the 1 will not sleep until that job will be finished. So it's beautiful in teamwork when they are balanced, but they do suffer a lot from overwork and overjudgment.
I think also they, I have a lot of experience with the 1, but I just want to say also, I think their intention is always good, but it can also create a lot of that judgment can create around you the sense that people can never make you happy or they can never do enough. So at this time, just be aware of that. Try to offer a little moment of a joke about how you're being. I know that's very hard to do for a lot of us when we're in our stuff. So when we trigger, but it's a good thing to think about. Lovely, Viola. Thank you. Let's move.
I can tell you something also. For example, as a 7 myself, when I go into neurosis, when I go into darkness, I go into the dark part of the 7, which is scattered, confused, maybe addicted behavior.
Perfect for a 1.
Scared, not being in the present.
Yeah.
And I go to the dark side of the 1. My first one that I go to is the dark side of the 1, which is picky and judgmental.
Right.
And in my journey, as soon as I start being picky with anybody I'm living with or I'm doing project with, or as soon as I go to that place, because you know yourself, you know how is it that you can give a good feedback, and you know when you're picky and obsessed and hooked. As soon as I go there, I know I'm stepping into my neurosis, and I don't let it go. I just take the measurement very quickly into the way back home. And in that process back home, I breathe, I go for I'm not very good with physical exercises, but I could go for a walk. I ask for help. I do another task. I unmask myself. I cry. I ask for forgiveness, whatever is needed. But I will not let myself to go that way. I know it very well. It took me years to get out of it. I don't want to go back there. Yeah.
Very good. So we talking about the Enneagram. I want to thank a few people that have come on the box here. Agnes van Namen, Natalie Newman, Magda Erumenidis, Heidi Badawi, Nira Satguru, Leila Edward, Charles Johnson, Lambrini Kiosi. I'm so glad you're here with us. And we want to just offer an opportunity as we go through the Enneatypes now and the way they get triggered and what you can be watching out for. An opportunity to share with us something you're really struggling with. We're going to be here for an hour today. We're offering free service as 2 psychotherapists, really because we're passionate about the Enneagram and we really understand that the ego is going to be stressed out in every single one of us at this time. And we really think we can offer some insight into how you can begin to navigate some of these challenges. We're going through different personality types. They're called Enneatypes in the Enneagram. And we're looking at how they react to stress and strain. This is a very critical time. There are amazing opportunities for us. One is to heal the self and to really begin to look at a certain part of you that cracks under pressure. It's going to show up right now. So let's go to the 2. And Viola, the 2 is the mother of the Enneagram, the ones that are nurturing everyone else, forgetting about their own needs. So when they're in this situation, stressed out, they're going to be doing a lot of caring for everyone else, which is probably very helpful for everybody. But the shadow side of that, tell us.
Yeah, touch my heart. My mom was at 2. They will be walking.
Yeah, 2.
Yeah, they will be walking, whatever. They will be out there, putting themselves in danger. They will be at service. It's beautiful. The 2 is so beautiful. It's just when the 2 is unbalanced, maybe their house will be ups and down. The 2 is not concerned about that perfection, whatever, is concerned about giving. The problem is with the 2, when they give, they don't have, and what they resent in the fact that they don't receive. So you have to imagine, this is, I'm showing you now. How is it? This is a healthy 2.
So Viola's doing this right now. Yeah.
Okay, you're giving with a hand. I'm giving you Heleniq, and I'm telling you, what do I need? I need this session to be 1 hour, 1 hour and a half, no more. I can't go the whole afternoon because I'm busy, etc. The healthy 2 is somebody who gives, but it's clear what they need and what are their boundaries. Now, this is the unhealthy 2. The hand that they would receive is behind their back, is not seen. They are giving, and the hand behind the back is like this. So whatever they receive, eager of receiving,
the back is like this, right?
Yes, because anytime they look at their hand, it's like empty. Because they overgive, therefore the clarity of what they need to receive is not there. And when they receive, it's flow because nothing is enough, and they get resentful and upset. And I always give that example, which is real. It's like I used to have a friend when we will be talking, I would say, oh, Heleniq cousin friend is arriving at 2 a.m., such an inconvenient time to arrive. We're sending him a taxi. And this friend will say, I will go and pick him up. And we'll say, no need, he can pay the taxi. No, I will go. So this is a typical two. But if the two will go in a trip and 10 of us will not stand up and say, we will take you, then they will be very upset. It's about when they give without thinking that it's not necessary, it's not required, it's okay. Is the two, the major drama of the two, is when they confuse that you need me, you love me. And when they overprotect, when they overgive to kind of be begging for respect and love. And this is what we work to balance that. When we work with the therapeutic Enneagram, is to balance the quality. We cannot take, nobody wants to take away the quality. The generosity will still there, but it will be much more self-respect and boundary setting for the two.
Beautiful. So any of you know people that are nurturing? We actually call that toxic femininity sometimes in the work with women. It's quite common to see a lot of women overgive, don't know where to put their boundaries. In fact, a few years ago, as a colleague, I asked Viola this question as I was preparing the 10 biggest mistakes women make. And I said, what do you think is the biggest mistake women make? And she said, women don't put down their boundaries soon enough. So if that sounds familiar, if you know people in that space, perhaps you can just be a bit more compassionate at this time, because they're going to really struggle to ask for what they need. They might be providing extra things that others really don't always need, but maybe even sometimes they do. So they're very useful and very supportive and nurturing, but be aware that you can support them at this time by also letting them know that they are allowed to have limits, that they need to take care of themselves. Maybe you can remind them. And if you are one of those types, I really also want to recommend that you take a serious approach to start working on that with yourself, because it's a hard thing to change, especially in Mediterranean countries, in a lot of cultures. In fact, people have been trained to be very accommodating and very supportive and very I'm trying to find the word, where hospitable to people, and it's considered kindness. And, say again?
Which is beautiful with boundaries.
Yeah, and to show people your generosity continuously is like a kind of currency in countries like in Egypt. We just went there. It's very normal to be hospitable and offering and accommodating in these kinds of cultures. And often people get very confused about what they actually need sometimes, and if it's okay to put that out. So if you're in one of those areas in the world, both Viola and I are transcultural psychotherapists, so we work globally with people from all over, and different cultural groups have different types of tendencies. So this is a good one to be looking at. Take care of yourself if you are potentially a 2, or you maybe later find out you are a 2, or you see that in yourself right now. Ask yourself regularly once a day, what do I need? And how can I make sure that I'm not overgiving? I'm not leaking my energy, I call that, where you kind of end up putting yourself too much out there. I used to do this in groups. I used to leak my energy in the group. So I would spend so much time writing off the wonderful inspirational conversations I have with people when I went to all these incredible workshops and trainings, and I would end up really depleted at the end of the day. And I had to realize that I was also giving a lot of my energy, my inspiration, my exhilaration, my enthusiasm, maybe not like a 2, but I wasn't putting any boundary about how much inspiration I could handle. So in a time like this too, how much can you really handle from other people? And maybe you give them space to talk about what's going on. Maybe you really are trying to help them and cook for them. You know, you need to look at what is your limit. Let's move to the 3, Viola. The 3
is and one thing more for the 2 that I practiced for many years. The 2 are yes people. Yeah. So shall we do the interview? Yes. So you are allowed, after you say yes, you wake up and you say, why did I do that? It's to please my friend. It's because it's good for her. Many times the answer is always for the other one, not for you. You are allowed to take the phone or the email and say, dear Maria, you know, I really, really love you and I really want to support you. But I told you yes for that project, but actually it's a no. And as soon as you do it, the other person will not suffer because they didn't set everything. They just ask you a question. They have many people. Who can they ask? But because you say yes, they will take you. If you say no, there is hundreds of people that they can do it. So the two need to work in their ego that I'm the one who's going to save the world. No, you're not going to save the world. You're going to complicate your world when you do things that you couldn't do, you know? Okay.
Sometimes we think we're going to really save the world, or the world really needs us, and we have to train also other people to not overuse us or exploit us, and to not train them to exploit us either, because
it's not their intention. Heleniq, many times it's not the intention to people.
Yeah, of course.
It's the two who put themselves there. So also another trick for the two, if I call you and you want to say no, so if I call you and you love me and everything, and I said, let's go and do this event in Nigeria, you can say yes, that will be great. Actually, for 2020, I'm full of event. I cannot do anymore. Maybe next year. This is another way where you can say yes, take a breath, and then say no later in a kind way. So that will suit your personality very well. Because for two, it's very hard to say no.
Yeah.
So we say yes to the idea, but not to you mobilizing yourself there.
I just want to share this with you, Viola, and everyone watching. Neera Satguru was a speaker in Cyprus. She helped us look at how to be a bit more financially aware of saving and economizing, but she herself is saying that she loves being a giver on the feed right now, and it's in her DNA. She likes it as much as traveling. Giving and traveling are great things for her, but she also knows how to take care of herself and treat herself too. So that's a good way to understand that you can still be this nurturing, loving, supportive person, but also need to take care of yourself, allow yourself little gifts, really take care of your own limits as well. So anyone who wants to ask something specific, I'm inviting you again. Thank you. Bada, we love your work and support you all the way. Put it on the box. We're going to get to it. Viola.
Look, the word is better word because there is two. This is for you, my two friends, because I'm so much people. The world is better place to live in because the two exist. Just take care of yourself.
Such compassion and love for other people. So the three are the achievers, people who really need to be doing something right now. And you said a few days ago, Viola said maybe you can clean out your closet. That's a good kind of trick right now. Things, little projects that you can do that make you feel really good and really.
Okay, so the three: driven, ambitious, image is very important, focused, very clear vision, hardworking. So the three are the achievers and the successful. Let's call them the achiever because they set the goal and they will go for it and they will achieve many things because of their hard work. You see, the one is also a very hardworking person. The one will do everything excellent, washing the dishes, cleaning the house, creating the project, doing his work as a minister, everything. The three is hardworking with a vision. And nobody will take her or him away from that, which is great. And we want everybody to have a vision and to work for it. It's just that as the two cannot say no to a gift, the three cannot say no to something that will make him or her go one step more in that ladder for success. For that, we have a lot of burnout people who are three because they don't know how to say no to work toward their vision. Toward their vision.
And that's a very seductive place to be, where you really are invested in achieving something really amazing, even sometimes, that everybody needs or your company absolutely cannot live without. And so it can be very difficult to stop. And especially at a time like this, Viola, a three might be really in strain, right?
Well, it depends, because if they are healthy three, and I have so many friends, healthy three, actually they didn't stop. They are redoing, re-evaluating, because the healthy tree has focus and have a vision. And you're not going to take them away from that vision. You can change the field, you can change the country, you can change the weather, you can change this, but they will be, in a way, steadily. They can function in this field or other field. The problem for the tree is when they are not healthy, when they have invested so much in their work, in their achievement, that have neglected that personal relation. The tree sometimes, when is unhealthy, is perceived as selfish, as pushing people away to be the first. Actually, it's not that, it's just they are focused. But when they go into neurosis will be that the tree, imagine a child tree, let's imagine somebody 12 years old, and they are creating a theater play in the school. The tree naturally will want the first role, and they are sure they're going to do it well. A healthy tree will bet for the first role, but will do the second or the third very good. An unhealthy tree will suffer because they don't have the first role. They really will suffer because they need to be there. This is when they are unhealthy. I hope you get the image. So the tree, when they are unhealthy, they are perceived as selfish, self-absorbed, taken out from other people. And even though they are kind and nice people, many times they are rejected because they create a little bit of untrust around them. For that, we have a lot of tree in session, actually, because when they want to really to take care of their family, or to make family, or to enter into a relationship, they wake up and they understand that relating and loving is not the same thing as having. They have many structure and many way to have whatever they want through their hard work. But in relationships, it works differently. The engagement and the time and the relating, it works differently than is a task to achieve something. That makes sense?
Yeah, I think it's such an important subtle difference that gets made in a three, because it's also looking deeply at how you're going to understand accomplishment and victory and winning, and the whole cliche of, you know, it's not just about the destination, it's also about the journey. So this is a good way to see that every single one of us, we have some small subtle things to begin to understand that help us suffer less. And the three is doing that also by being, like you say, in a healthy way, not suffering anymore because you're not on top. You sort of, you do the best you can. You don't have to always be on top, because there's a lot of stress from that high achievement. And I know it's a big
and also the doubt about your own feeling, the doubt about
whether you're good enough.
That many three are very attached mothers and fathers, because with the kids, they manage to have another way of connecting. Some of them also suffer from that, being accused of being cold or not there. But I know as a psychotherapist how a tree suffer, how it vibrate, and how really they love their family. The point is how to be able to be permeable, to be able to show that in a way that fit them. This is what we work with the tree.
Yeah, I love the word, that agility. We talked about that also really when we started, that this time is brilliant because it's showing us that we need to be more flexible to deal with things when they are not certain or they don't happen in the way we expect. So this agility, flexibility in a three is also something that can be
very needed.
Work on yourself.
But they are, you will recognize the trees because they have impeccable image. The tree need exquisiteness in their life, even if they are maybe poor or in ads, they always have something exquisite that they inherited, or the way how they have that piece that they use a certain elegance. I think the 3 and the 8 are the one that are more, and the 7 more recognized of the Enneagram. I always think you will know who is 3 if you go to the park and see people jogging. You will see who are 3, because even they are perfectly dressed and perfectly combined, even when they are doing their exercises. So let's move to the 4.
Or is someone like me a good example? So let's talk
about. You want to talk about that yourself?
Well, I think it's good to share with audiences that there is a way of being able to, what I say, be a work in progress and a masterpiece at the same time. And I want everybody on the call to commit to that today, because when I got really sick a few years ago, my aunt sent that to me as a little post. I have a beautiful aunt that helps me with my business, Maria and Nicola Timbios. If you're watching, thank you for everything you do for me. Absolutely love her love and support through the years. And all of my family. At that time, she sent me that. You can be a masterpiece and a work in progress at the same time. And I loved it because I speak to this reality that when you start working on yourself, you start seeing a lot of things that you don't like. And for a lot of people, it's really stressful. It might even be the reason why a lot of people don't like to go into session to work on themselves, or they poo-poo it or minimize it or say it's not right or it doesn't work or it's not time or that stuff is rubbish or whatever the kind of critique could be. Because it's pretty stressful and there's a lot of resistance in us to grow and really see ourselves. So for me, it was very difficult to see the 4 in me for a long time because I just saw the part of me that was a bit more like a 7, which was very experimental, very much into experiences. I had what I could see as a lot of greed to eat life. I even had a friend in South Africa who said that, Heleniq, you are someone who wants to eat life, because I wanted to experience so many things. Later on, I looked more deeply into the test that I now use. Actually, it's called the Integrative Enneagram Solution Test, and it's been done with extensive research. And my friend Dirk, who runs that institute, offered to give me the test for free so that I could check, because people were saying, I don't think you're a 7. We don't think you're a 7. We think you're more internal than that, because when Viola shares her type, you'll see that 7s can be very outwardly inspiring, but I had quite a lot of angst, I guess, and that was very interesting to realize on the test. It confirmed another suspicion of work that I was doing with myself, which was to really understand this idealistic, romantic kind of feeling. And I relate very much to the musician Prince. Some of you might know, the man who loves purple. I love purple too. All my branding is in purple. And he too is a great example of a 4. So the romantic idealist. And so for me, in times like this, I can go into a bit of a magical thinking when I'm not very healthy. I just try and paint a pretty picture of what's happening. But I used to do a lot of that when I was younger. Now I think I'm a little bit more healthy and quite critical, actually, of that part of myself. And it's helped me also look a little bit more at how to hold both realities at the same time. So there's been a long journey to learn how to do that. So how can I hold the side of life that's really difficult? So the part that's in progress, the part that we're still learning to do, the place where you see your ego trips up and you don't behave so nicely and you don't like this part of yourself, and the other part of you at the same time, which is pretty lovely, really wonderful, very compassionate, creative, able to see the beauty in things, right? And I think at this time, it's very rewarding for me because I feel very calm about what's going on. I've been in 3 years of lockdown because I got very sick, and I was forced to go into this self-reflection, which I was doing a lot anyway, but this was different because I had to cut from a lot of things that I would normally rely on to get me in a good mood or work with my body. I couldn't do many things that I used to do before, and some of these things I still cannot do. So in a way, it feels like an initiation for this time, and I feel I was born for this time right now, actually. And you can see the idealism in that, but you can also see the visionary part of maybe a 4. So being really different, being an individual, being very creative, that's all 4 type qualities. And of course, the point here is to learn to really feel the togetherness, to connect with people more, to be able to belong, to also really take care of this inner process that's going on all the time, and sometimes to just sort of stop that and accept what's happening.
Yes. And stop fearing reflection of others.
The feeling stuff. Yeah. So I'm happy to hear a little more from you, Viola, on a 4, if you want to add anything to this. But for me, it's been a very interesting time, and I notice a lot of people don't like to do a lot of this emotional processing, and that's how I know they're not really a 4. So 4s are the ones who start talking about all the things that have been happening to them or how they've experienced. They almost sometimes even forget the other person. Not to say that they are only possibly a 4, but 4s have the tendency to go through a lot of stuff inside that they think about, feel about, and then they need to try and process it. And sometimes they do that with other people. So when I find people like that, I feel like I'm in my tribe as well, because everybody likes to do that.
It is so nice when you are like that in a healthy way. The point when before go into neurosis, it seems like nobody suffer like they suffer, But this is in a way, I'm alone. The comparison with others. Why did I did this and this and this? Why I didn't get this and this and this? This is some typical thing of the 4 when they are in neurosis, and very, very scared of being disapproved and rejected. You know, in a way, like the 2, the 2 give a lot, so they are not rejected. They do so many things to fit in, not to be rejected. They give whatever they don't have to be loved, to be accepted. So in neurosis, the 4 become a little bit like that. So I have all these dreams and all these projects that I will need like 4 lives at least to do them all. But also, I always thought, if I go into these chronic pain centers, I wonder how many 4 there is there more than others, because the way how 4 feel the pain is different. How so but at the same time, look how beautiful. We want a 4 in every organization, creative. They have their individual needs clearer than almost anybody else from the Enneagram. But it's come out quite wrong when they are in neurosis and they are perceived again as selfish and not feeling about others. But in reality, it's the person. And remember, all of us, we have a 4, if you are listening here, because the 4 is the seeker. Is the one who's looking for answers. Who I am. All philosophers have a 4, because psychology come after philosophy. And philosophy was created, who I am, what I'm doing here, what is this? The questioning is the 4. So all of us, we have that beautiful 4 inside, and all of us, we would love to have a 4 that take us more into the challenge to ask question and to seek for the answer, but with certain parameters and joy. Because the drama of the 4 is that melancholy is just there at their step door. And from melancholy to depression and to pain is just another step. Yeah.
Can be very
Oh my God, how we're gonna do? We have only 10 minutes and we still have so many to cover. 5. Okay.
5. Let me just shut this door because there's some construction.
Yeah. So let's call, I just find you, I was looking to find you a little summary I have done in some moments. So 5, we call them the observer, the investigator, the researcher. They are introvert thinker, preoccupied with gathering information, always to have a big overview of everything. They like to study, to research, to read. They like to have information. You know, each one of the Enneagram have a motto. And the motto of the 5 is knowledge, information. They need a lot of information to be prepared for whatever life will bring them. Now, look, a 5 is quite in his mind, in her mind, information, knowledge. Now that Heleniq talk a lot about the 4, where do you think the 4 is? In their emotion. Explosive. So imagine a combination between 4 and 5. They are attracted to each other, but can you imagine 5 doesn't like surprises, and especially if those surprises are emotional. It's not his field, it's not her field. And can you imagine the 4 is all a fire, all of emotion. So it's very interesting when you see it in the kids, when you have 2 kids, or when you see it in brothers and sisters, or business partner, or lover. So again, I think we have all what we have nowadays. Can you imagine an Edison without 5? Can you imagine any of the people who created things that had made our life possible? They are 5s. because they spend hours and hours and hours searching for that thing, for that link, that thing until it come out. So
five. Yeah.
So 5 are very, very important in our community. Actually, 5 is the only one who doesn't mind to be alone. Actually, as Nietzsche said, this is another 5. I resent fully that you take me out of my own space to talk to me about this and this and this. That is not about of my interest. Of course, he said it in a different way, and surely with different accent. So I would say that some people suffer with the 5 because you could feel that the 5 is not interested on you or doesn't love you, but it's not the case. It's just they are very much in their world. We call them the caveman or the cave woman because they can hide. They can be there forever. They forget to eat. They forget to bathe. They forget, so the most difficult thing for the 5 is a chit chat meeting. I mean, they can die. It's horrible for them. So if your husband or your wife is a 5, please avoid them those chit chat meeting, and just help them to be more social, but you selecting them for them where really their presence is necessary. I know some people as 5 that the last 15 years or 10 years of their life, they were secluded, how you say? They were by themselves, like hermitage, with their book and with their music. Just this is what make them happy. So we need to work with the 5 with respect to the 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
deep thinkers and very analytical and really can help all of humankind with what their knowledge and intellect can bring. So we really need to respect them. Let's move to the 6, very loyal.
No, but we need to say something about the 5. The big drama about the 5 that they need to develop, because all this knowledge, if you don't manage to share it with others unless they are from your level, it's like buying an encyclopedia and throwing it into the sea. You're really 5. If you are a 5 and you're listening to me, you need, it's a must to develop your relational capital. And call me because I'm going to help you with that. So let's go to the 6. Yeah?
Yeah.
So the 6 are the loyalists. The 6 are the people who we is much more important than the I. The 4 is the I. What's my need? What's my identity? What is it that why I'm here? The 6 many times forget about the self, because their motto is I'm gonna do things for the we. There is family who are 6. There is countries who are 6. Like Cyprus. We are in Cyprus is a 6, isn't it? We, family matter more than the community. Than the individual. Now, this is beautiful, of course. 6 is the people who connect people, but we also call them this skeptical, because they have a lot of doubt about themselves when they want to do an individual decision. They are good at analyzing situation. They are fantastic. You trust them. You can trust the 6, but with the 6, we need to work more about self-worth, self-trust, your worth as individual, because they get into shock when they understand. Before they thought the world need them because they connect the world, and later they understand, oh, I needed the world to be connected, so I exist, and they get into a shock. You exist as individual, and you need to learn about that, and you need to learn what is your worth as individual. But 6 are amazing, beautiful, loyalists. You trust them. They are amazing in situation like this. I'm going to skip 7 because you know a lot about me now. And I'm going to go to 8. You know a lot about 7, don't you?
Just tell us, Viola, 7 right now, how are they struggling really at this time?
Well, actually, 7 don't struggle at this time.
Because
7, if they are healthy, 7. If they are healthy, 7 is communicational. 7 is resourceful. In a party, a 7 is the soul of a party because they are communicational and they can share. Totally opposite to 5. 5 will not share something unless they know everything about it. 7 will share. After this video with me and Heleniq, if you never have heard about Enneagram and you are a 7, I bet you in your next meeting, you're going to be talking about Enneagram, because 7 connect and integrate very quickly, and they can talk about what they just received. For that, they always have stories. While a 5 will be very upset with the 7, thinking that the 7 is a shallow and superficial. How dare he, how dare she to talk about this deep knowledge of the Enneagram because they heard a talk of 40 minutes. Yeah, you see the difference?
Yep.
5, if the 5 is interested, they will go now and buy all the books and all the things, and they immerse themselves, and in 4 months time, maybe they will say something about Enneagram. So the 7 is multifaceted, versatile. When the 7 are healthy, and I think I become a very healthy 7, is a joy for the community. When the 7 is unhealthy because they want to prove it all, they want to test it all, they are scared to be by themselves, they don't like aging, they don't like loneliness, so they can't manage to be in the present, and we call them the planners because always they are planning what's the next. Like, I'm with you now, but what I'm going to do next, to occupy their time. Sometimes we call them the eternal Peter Pan. It's like they didn't grow because the motto of the 7, everything is possible, let's have fun. So that is very annoying if you are the provider of your family, and actually it's not fun not to provide. And, so 7 need to work in themselves to keep the fun of life, the joy of life, but to gather themselves together and to be able to finish what they start. And even though they are doing 2 or 3 things at the time, to be able to be clear and honest about it. And also, I, as an ex-addict myself, I think if we go to places like AA and other places, we will find a lot of 7 because they want to try it all. And some of us, we get trapped in some part of that all. Of course, when I work in addiction and the Enneagram, each one of us go to addiction in a different way because loneliness and trauma, we face it in a different way. Yeah. But I would say 7 is very, and this time, if you're not a grounded 7, if you're not a healthy 7 and you go to the dark of the 7, you will be smoking more, boozing more, eating more, and going and jump into another stage of addiction. Please be aware, be careful.
Wonderful. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Moving to 8, we said something yesterday about people like Trump, Fidel Castro, very powerful leaders, people that are really...
I didn't mention those names. Okay, she's mentioning.
I'm mentioning them. They are the names on my training for Enneagram 8. And I have also got a chance with you now, if Viola can stay a few more minutes to just share something about the 9s. But to the people that have joined us, Eleanor Hamilton, Nasima El Yakubi, and Layla Fisher, nice to have you here. We're just finishing up this training on the Enneatypes, but really looking at how our egos crack under pressure. And if you want to know more about any of this work, we are going to be working together with Viola to offer people a very affordable version of working on yourself right now using the Enneagram test, and then some feedback from me, and then some continued psychotherapeutic work with Viola in session. So if you're interested in that, it's really great that you stayed on until now. You'll get some information on the feed. And if you do want to know more about how you yourself are operating as an ego, I really recommend this way of working. It's really a shortcut, if you can call it that, to knowing the self at the deepest level. So tell us, Viola, why do you think Fidel Castro and Donald Trump are not 8s?
Oh, no, I didn't say they are not 8. I said I didn't mention those names.
No, okay.
But what I want to say, yeah, they are 8. I want to say that.
Great, we agree. So
I want to say about the 8, and
yeah.
you can see with your children and young people and all of us, the fact that you have a natural leadership
that's
trait doesn't mean that you are a leader. So what do you do with that leadership is going to depend on you and in your skills. But for some people, definitely they are pioneers. They are the first one in the horse, follow me. And we have through the history, beautiful 8s, beautiful. And also how those beautiful 8 lose their way sometimes because there is one big enemy of the 8, which is how they manage their power. And we see it all the time in the political world or in any world when people have a lot of power. What do you do with that power? Do you use it in a unconscious way, in a cruel way, or how you keep your own self-development so you can manage your own wildness to be able to manage your power? Because you are 8, you're going to manage power. Being the head of the family, being the head of the community, being the head of the Boy Scout, whatever, or Girl Scout, the 8 is somebody that you will recognize very easily. Usually they are not alone. They come with a lot of people with them. Even they could be tall and big, or even when they are short, they have big voice. Something about their image will call your attention because they enter to a space saying, here I am. You know, it's like very strong presence. So we have a lot to talk. The word need 8, but I would say some different. It's a lot to do with work and the 8. And I'm really, I hope in my lifetime I will see that there are much more psychologists, sociologists, anthropologists, mentors working in the political area, and not only consultant in politics and how to say a speech and how to say that. And I think the world would be a better place to be if we will be more included in many of the political situation. I'm going to move to the 9 because I'm going to get emotional. I'm Venezuelan. I was born in Iraq, and I lived some year of my life in Lebanon, and I'm from Venezuela, and now I live in Cyprus. So I don't need to tell you more. Yeah. So before I become emotional, and let's move to the 9.
We love emotional.
Let's move to the 9.
It's an honor to have you, and an honor to have you getting emotional. And I think it's also just a very special moment now because we're closing down this limitlessness session that we've been doing the whole week. We're finishing off with the 9. And for anybody that has any questions about going deeper into this work, put it on the box. And if you want to connect with either me or Viola afterwards, you're also welcome to put a comment on the box. We'll get to you. But as I say, we are actually offering a chance to go deeper into the Enneagram, an opportunity to heal the self, and really to become the kind of what I call paradigm shifter, or person who really is here to offer whatever skill and expertise you have right now to this big changing situation, is a special moment, and it needs some inner work. And I think we all have to do some of this inner work. As a human species, we work together to really mobilize change that's needed on the planet right now. So if you are interested in more and the Enneagram is appealing for you and you would like to use this as your tool to work, by all means get in touch. Viola, tell us about the 9. I think for me, the biggest...
I'm gonna tell you quickly about the 9. I know the mediator. 9 focus on creating a harmonious environment and are often very good mediator, able to see issues from multiple viewpoints. However, they can have difficulty knowing their own opinion, leading to problem with decision-making and a tendency to procrastinate. They seek harmony around them, fearing anger and disharmony, and therefore they try to still the troubled water of argument. Yeah, I couldn't find better summary of the 9 than this one that we did time ago, or we get from somewhere time ago. So this is the 9. Very, very pleasant people. They are mediators, they are diplomat, they manage the situation, and they don't want to go into conflicts. Many times we call them the in-between because they don't bring their opinion, because they don't want conflict. Many times we have the 9 there in some situations. And I would say the worst enemy of the 9 is to procrastinate too much, and then they are perceived as lazy. I have in my role as a counselor for therapy, couple counselor, many women who said, he is lazy. And actually he's not. It's just sometimes I think the 9 think that the day have 30 hours, that the hour have 120 minutes, and then every minute have 200 seconds. So sometimes they think they will do it, you know, because their measurement of the time is different. You're with me?
Yeah.
So if you're a 9 and you're listening to me, get real about the real scale of time. The world doesn't work around your idea of time. It works around the 24 hours, 60 minutes, yeah, per hour, etc. So if you get into that slowly, you know, so I work with the 9 about, you said it's going to take you 5 minutes. Tell me how it's going to take you 5 minutes. Because anybody who's listening to you know that is impossible to go from point A to point B in 5 minutes. And you will see that they think the minute has many more seconds than it is. So if you are a 9 and you're listening to me, getting into the reality of life doesn't mean to get into the pain of life. You can keep your inner peace, because 9 has a lot of inner peace, even though you are in the reality of life. You can. I promise you, you can. So avoiding the pain and where other people who are living in this dimension, it doesn't make you happier. On the contrary, when you are avoiding this reality, you create much more pain for yourself and for your family group and for your work group. And it's not what you want. And this is part of your suffering. You want peace, you want calmness, you want joy. So there is this work you need to do. Yes.
Beautiful. So we see that there are so many different ways that human beings play out their shadow side through the work that we've been doing together here today, and that there are so many ways that we can look more deeply at ourselves and start to use this time as a time to make the mind more still, to really delay some of our reactions. We can look at how to cultivate a spirit of calmness, and learning from the 9s who have a lot of inner peace in them. This is maybe a
Humbleness, beautiful humbleness.
yeah, they're very humble people.
The
And
8 need to learn a lot from the 9.
yeah, 8s can learn a lot from 9s. So they're the peacemakers, really, and we need them so much. So if you have someone like that around, that's so beautiful for you. And just also try to take care of them, make them understand that they are also important, that they can also use this time to get things done. Yeah? And we also look to the spirit of calmness, you know, that we're trying to create real calmness, not false, illusionary, ignoring or being deluded, but really how to really find some acceptance for what's going on.
Yeah.
An amazing thing I've put up on the box here that I've been pulling from different places about what this time can be for. And I'm going to just go through the rest of this, which is the ability to think as a community. I think we are building a time where we realize that we are all really interconnected, and we cannot solve this unless we work together. So this is something very powerful for humanity, because I think many people have been talking about it. The 9s understand that, and they want to preserve that. And we can all start to learn from that part of the Enneagram, because a lot of Enneagram work is to see all these parts in you, not to also get so stuck in one of your states, that you can also see the 4 in you, the 5 in you. You go to different points on the Enneagram when you get stressed. So to integrate all of these. So there really is different ways to go beyond all suffering and into the opportunity, the ingenuity, and the solution building together. This is officially closing off our time together here now, but if you do want more and you're interested in ways to get more involved with this work, we have a lot of ways for you to do that. We have support for corporates, organizations, and many different institutions really now suffering from businesses struggling to go online, economies crashing, stock markets crashing. We are really facing the greatest crisis and the greatest opportunity in our lifetimes. So if you need some help in that area, I'm collecting global experts, leaders, and trainers to work on, it's about 15 subjects right now. This is called Paradigm Shifter. It really is the time for some people to help lead us in what we now need to do. And there are amazing people standing by to do that. I will be sharing some of their wisdom and knowledge with you. There's another page on Facebook called Paradigm Shifter with all kinds of good news about what's happening at this time, funds that are being started to help entrepreneurs, homeschooling suggestions for parents that are working on their life-work balance, businesses, how they can go online, how to use different platforms. Lots to learn, lots to create this community thinking. I really want to shout out again to Viola Edwards. Thank you so much for everything that you do for our world. You're an award-winning mentor, so well deserved. And I will put up again Viola's contacts here. You know that she has a program called Grit Academy, which is teaching people this resourcefulness and transformation process on a personal growth level. You can also do the growth mindset training, which is an online course of videos through me. I'm offering discounts for a lot of the programs right now, but also very cheap prices for the corporate program. It's €18 per seminar or 250 for all of them. It goes from Monday the 23rd all the way till 15th of April. Viola is one of my guests on those seminars. She's teaching EQ and she doesn't know it yet. She's just jumped.
You see, I say yes.
Yeah, she's a yes to everything we do. We really support each other in amazing ways. Viola's worked in a lot of organizations. She's worked globally. So we're looking at emotional intelligence, the emotional care right now that people are needing in organizations and workplaces. So I've put her as a lead speaker on that. And many more experts on engineering, sustainability, how we're going to really create transformational leadership at this time, change management, communication, in team management, how co-working is going to happen. I'm looking for trainers on Zoom, Trello, and HubSpot. So if you know anyone, let me know. And really many more experts standing by with expertise to really share now and to really help you shift. So if you want to jump on board and you want to know more about it, keep watching these pages. We're on YouTube for today's streaming. We might use only the Zoom platform for the other seminars. So get familiar with how to use that. If you need help, go and find a tutorial so you can get ready for all this work. And the last words are from you, Viola. And to anyone on the box that has a last question, I think I'm going to just check that one more time here, that if you want to ask anything at this point, this will be your last chance. So anybody with a question on the box, just say it again here because there's quite a lot of comments to get through. And I don't see anybody really suggesting that they have a question, but if you do, your last chance now while Viola closes off this training session with me today. Viola.
Yeah, I've been reflecting. Well, what I want to tell you that even though all what I have passed, go through in my life, I still in love with human being, and I have a huge hope in humanity. And I know that we're gonna go through this, we're gonna grow, and we will be going through different events in life to become the best version of ourselves. And when we created this Enneagram program, how to get the best version of yourself is about that. Doesn't mean that we will not have event and accident and illness and losing beloved people. It's about how we go through life event, keeping in love with life and keeping in love with humanity and not to get bitter and dry. And yeah, this is what I want to tell you. This process is going to take some time, I guess. I don't know how much time. No, seems like nobody knows. But what I can tell you, like as any recovery process, live every day, one day at a time, one day at a time. And every day is another day that we live clearer and cleaner and living the best version of ourselves. And tomorrow is going to be better than today if we continue like this, one day at a time. So I want to tell you, I trust you. I have hope on you as I have in myself. And I know you're going to do your best to go through this situation, using your time wisely, using your resources wisely, and giving your best to your family and your community and to the world. And yeah, that's what I want to tell you. And much love.
Oh, can you feel the love and the connection and the beauty just moving from Viola to all of us here with those words? I just want to thank you again, Viola, for all the knowledge, expertise that you've been sharing freely with me here on 5 days of this Limitlessness series. I want to just thank also the people that keep arriving on the feed as we leave. This happened yesterday, the day before, and again today. People coming on as we're ready to end. It's lovely to have you. Thank you for coming.
Seven, Paul.
Charles, Rebecca Zembetaki, Sabrina Blunt-Watson, and Nicolina Papagiorgio. You've caught us towards the end. Leila, Nasima, Eleanor. Really, we spent a long time here talking about the different personalities and how they get triggered at this time and things that they could do to try and heal some of the self that could be in a critical state. I love what you say, Viola, about really taking care of yourselves, that you have faith in everybody. I do too. I think this is an enormous opportunity for us all to feel feelings and a sense of connection that is going to help us heal a lot of things and really help us realize a lot of what we need to be focused on for the future. There are 17 goals, sustainability goals, that mark the global issues we are now facing. And many people are getting ready to start supporting us and teaching us about how we can start thinking in ways to solve some of these problems that we have. And right now, the first one is health, right? So we're already doing a reform process on health. I spoke to someone yesterday about reforming the health system in the Netherlands. And I realized that many places now are hit hard by caregivers being burnt out. So you can watch out for some of our seminars. We have some trainers coming on that are going to help, specifically doctors and nurses and anyone who is a caregiver. So if you know anyone who is and they need support, it's only €18 for the seminar. And of course, there are so many more areas that we're going to be looking at. So if you want to know more about your own inner work, we will be putting up some content for you to get involved. If you yourself want to teach something and you consider yourself an expert to do that, I'm looking for 3 levels. Neera's just offered herself for parents at home. She is a educator for more than 30 years. So she's going to help with some tips and tools for parents on how to take care of your children while you're in lockdown, the educational needs of your children. And if anybody wants to know more, you can always private message me or Viola. I'll be putting her details on the YouTube video as well when we finish, because we can't edit it on there now, but you'll get it once the video is back live there. And you can find us on her website. It's on my main page. You can find the free gifts we gave, which is all about learning to be more aware of the conscious breathing process. I shared with you how to make friends with chaos as well. And there's much more. If you want to stay connected, keep following and keep the faith. We are all in this time for good reason. And I think we can all learn so much and we can contribute to each other in ways we never could before. So thank you so much for joining me. Goodbye, everyone. And bye-bye, Viola. Lovely to have you again. Bye, everyone.
We're still live.
I think we're done. Literally, like 10 people came on in the last 5 minutes.
Still live.
Really?
Yes.
Where? Because I'm trying to shut them down.
Stay here, you're live.
Yeah, I'm live with you, but I've stopped the recording and turned off.
Okay.